Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2014 PowerMaxed Mini Challenge from Snetterton. This weekend, the Minis perform in front of huge crowds as they guest alongside British Formula 3 and GTs. In the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge, the battles are well and truly hotting up. In the Cooper class, it's between Shane Stoney, Josh Gollin and Ricky Page. In the JCWs, Chris Knox may well be out in the lead, but Luke Caudle's looking particularly confident after a very good qualifier.
Yeah, really pleased with that qualifying session. Peak Performance had put a great car together, so we went out there, got a good lap time in, come in, and they said it was pole position, so we sat in the pit lane to save the tyres for the race.
That's what I was going to ask you, because you only did 5 laps, didn't you?
Yeah, we did a couple of bedding in laps, get the tyres up to temperature, and then 2 flying laps. Saw the good lap time, come and park the car, and the guys said, yeah, it's all good news.
We've had a nightmare this weekend. We done 1 session yesterday, and then we've struggled with a misfire, so we've literally done no testing whatsoever. So we're happy enough to be on the front row. It was very close. The Rivervale car was good, but we're lacking a little bit more in straight line speed. It's not as much as it was at Brands. We're only 2-3 miles an hour down now, but it makes a little bit of a difference on the straight. But I got one more run when the guys said I was P2, so I gave it one more shot and was up on every sector, and then I just made a tiny mistake on the last sector, which cost me a couple of tenths. So
we really struggled yesterday with setup, so we didn't get a setup on the car until this morning, so it was a bit of trial and error in quali. I haven't been here for 18 months either, and that's my only time here, so we're learning, but we'll be there, I'm confident.
I'm a little bit disappointed to be down there in 5th. Had a few issues. I think my brakes went hard a few times, and just not being able to stop for the corners didn't help. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more straight line speed for the next one as well, and push forward, because I've got to close the gap sharpish to Shane. Don't want to let him get away like last year.
Let's have a look then how they line up, with Luke Caudle and Chris Knox sharing the front row from Neil Newstead and Mark Stewart. Then it's Henry Dupree, Hamish Brandon, Lawrence Davey and Keith Issat. Chris Russell completes the JCW runners, and then Shane Stoney, who takes Cooper class pole once again alongside William Phillips. Plenty of drivers though snapping at their heels behind Josh Gollin, lots to do from 5th. Likewise for Ricky Page in 4th. They will be looking to make progress off the start. It's a narrow grid here at Snetterton, it's going to be pretty frantic.
So Ricky and Josh are in 4th and 5th position on the grid for the Cooper class. They're tasked to get ahead of dominant reigning champion Shane Stoney. Are you ready? Let's go racing.
So Luke Caudle and Chris Knox showing the front row as the red lights go on. Away we go. It's a good start from Caudle, slightly slow away from Hamish Brandon. What about the JCW class? It's very busy in the midfield, and Grace Williams makes contact with Simon Walton. Williams gets turned around. Walton gets hit again and spins to a halt. I think Pete Diamant as well was caught up in that. No such concerns at the front though. Caudle and Knox side by side into Montreal. They have then got Neil Newstead chasing him behind as Mark Stewart gets pushed out wide on the exit of the hairpin. The lead's already sprinting on towards the left-hander at Palmer. And the safety car coming out to recover those cars involved in that startling incident. Williams' car is pushed clear. So we ready ourselves for the restart, and Chris Knox poised behind Luke Caudle, trying to take advantage of the slipstream as the pair of them accelerate along the centre straight. But Caudle has judged this restart to absolute perfection. I'm not sure that Knox is going to be quite close enough. He's about 1.5 car lengths back. Both of the gap Neil Newstead has got the rest of the pack snapping at his heels. It's Lawrence Davey, the bright blue car, who is immediately there. Then Keith Issat next along. Ready, Knox once more, looks to the outside of Montreal. He's got the advantage of that deficit to the rest of the field, because Neil Newstead being kept very busy there by Lawrence Davey. In car then with Davey as he shows himself inside Neil Newstead. Newstead though covers the inside of Palmer. The pair of them then sprint on towards Agostini, as in car with William Phillips, who gets passed by Josh Gollin. The pair of them both in pursuit of Shane Stoney. You can see Gollin waving his fist there saying, I'm going to just try and catch Stoney. Thumbs up from Phillips there, looking to work in the slipstream as Hamish Brandon comes back off the grass and on to the Bentley Straight. Out front though, Caudle and Knox still continuing to break through the rest of the field. There is Hamish Brandon. You can see he's knocked a little bit of trim loose as a result of that off-track excursion, and that puts him immediately into the clutches of Alan Taylor, possibly as well the white car of Patrick Mortimer. So there is Taylor through the bomb hole in pursuit of Hamish Brandon. Henry Dupree as well as part of that battle. Josh Gollin flicks the car sideways. William Phillips follows him out of Nelson on towards the bomb hole. The pair of them still working in tandem, trying to get onto terms with Shane Stoney. Stoney in a brand new car this weekend, a real master of gapping the rest of the field. So it's the red car then of Gollin, the white and black car of Phillips. They've also got Ricky Page, who's trying to join in to this train through Coram Curve. The two Cooper class second and third place runners running in tandem as again Caudle covers the inside line at Riches from Chris Knox. Knox looking every which way, but this is really nice driving from Luke Caudle. Got the car perfectly positioned, and Chris Knox though is a very clean driver and he's determined to avoid making contact. He wants to overtake Caudle the right way. It's like 2011 all over again, seeing these two dicing at the front of the field, and again Caudle just beautifully positions his car on the way into Palmer. He's determined that if Chris Knox is going to go through, he's going to make it as tricky as possible for Knox to do that. Shane Stoney, William Phillips and Josh Gollin on their way. Switch for second then. Phillips has moved clear of Gollin. It's now William Phillips who's taking his turn to try and tow the rest of the pack back onto terms. Shane Stoney's not really happening. And then we've got Matt Hammond in pursuit of Ricky Page. In car with Hammond, a little bit tight as he squeezes through. Chris Knox remains tucked right underneath the rear spoiler of Luke Caudle's car, and this is why the Mini Challenge is so popular with fans and drivers alike. The cars, to all intents and purposes, equal. It really comes down to those tiny margins as a driver, as Patrick Mortimer looks to the inside of Alan Taylor. Mark Stewart also part of that group, recovering from his early race adventures. Mortimer there with the inside line to the bomb hole, should gain the position on Taylor. Pair of them sprint on their way. Ricky Page and Matt Hammond continue their tussle, and Hammond elevating himself up past Page. Got the three leaders in the Cooper class, not too far up the road either. Hearing from Page earlier on, really the task for him and Josh Gollin is to finish ahead of Shane Stoney, but they're going to run out of time because the victory goes to Luke Caudle. Chris Knox, very narrow runner up, just 0.4 of a second adrift. Third place, a fine drive for Neil Newstead. Shane Stoney claims the Cooper class victory from in second place William Phillips, and Josh Gollin just the third car home in the Cooper class. So an entertaining race then to kick off the weekend for the Mini Challenge. Luke Caudle victorious from Chris Knox, and Neil Newstead, Lawrence Davey in fourth from Kevin O'Connor, Keith Issat, Henry Dupree and Hamish Brandon. Shane Stoney, the first, the Cooper class cars home from William Phillips and Josh Gollin. Matt Hammond drove well for fourth, although Ricky Page would be disappointed to have slipped down to sixth in class. So time to celebrate on the rostrum for the first time this weekend. Shane Stoney needs a bigger mantelpiece for all of his Cooper class trophies, and Luke Caudle back on top in the JCWs.
Wasn't particularly fast off the line, but I got a great tow from the three in front, so I was able to catch up by the first corner. It's a long start-finish straight, and there was a small gap, so of course I was going to go into it, and got into second at the first corner. Didn't quite have the legs to catch up with Shane, so didn't fight too hard when Will Phillips came past, and tried to tag on and just building a gap back to fourth really.
It's loads of side-by-side action, real battle going on between you two.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the hardest races I've ever done in my motor racing career. Fair play to Chris, he gave us the space where we needed, but he definitely kept the pressure on. I think he was waiting for the mistake, but it never came, so we got it to the line and won the race.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to SO Group Management for putting the deal together this year with Rivervale and Shotley. It was a tough race. It was probably the worst start I've ever done in my career. He got the jump on me, side by side for the first couple of laps, and the safety car sort of ruined the momentum because we were side by side for the first 4 corners. Fair play, it's all to do tomorrow. I'm in the row in front of them, which is good, so game on.
There's no let-up for the battle for the lead in the JCW class. Luke and Chris find themselves side by side once again in race 2. However, this time it's in positions 6 and 7 with that reverse grid. We'll see you again after the break. Welcome back to the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge here at Snetterton, where it's an exciting weekend of racing alongside British Formula 3s and GTs. Race number 2 is about to get underway, and there's a reverse of the top 7 in both classes, which always shakes things up a little bit. So let's go racing.
Certainly does. So let's have a look then at the grid. Henry Dupree starts from pole alongside Keith Issat, then row 2, Kevin O'Connor and Lawrence Davey. Luke Caudle down from the inside of row 3 behind Chris Knox. Well, the Cooper class grid a little bit different because of various penalties that have been applied as well. So it means that Chris Stoney and Josh Gollin share the front row just ahead of Shane Stoney. Henry Dupree enjoying the glamour of being a mini challenge pole sitter. Chris Knox and Luke Caudle a little bit further back, all of their focus entirely on the task ahead. As the boards are shown to the drivers, away we go. In car with Chris Knox, and he's made a very quick start, but he's a bit boxed in here. The same goes for Kevin O'Connor. They're up behind Henry Dupree. It means that Keith Issat is leading the way into Riches for the first time. Then it's Lawrence Davey. See Knox right to the inside as the pack all streaking through, cleanly at least amongst the JCW runners. And in the Cooper class, it's Shane Stoney who's already to the fore. Luke Caudle taking the outside track on the brakes into Montreal. He's gained several places, but Kevin O'Connor slithers wide right in his path, almost makes contact with Caudle. It gives Knox the opportunity to try and sprint through. Neil Newstead as well joining in. It's almost 2 by 2 into Palmer, and Caudle now making the move on Neil Newstead. Still tucked in though behind Henry Dupree. Replay the start then from Josh Gollin's perspective. Not so quickly away, and it means he had Ricky Page, Chris Stoney and then Shane Stoney all right up in front of him, and it was the white car of Shane Stoney which made by far the smoothest getaway. He led the Cooper class runners then into Riches. So once more Josh Gollin in chasing mode in the Cooper class. The same thanks to reverse grid for race 1 with a Luke Caudle in the JCW class. It's Keith Issat then clear of Lawrence Davey, then Chris Knox in 3rd, Luke Caudle 4th, Henry Dupree, Neil Newstead, Hamish Brandon. Kevin O'Connor's not had a brilliant first lap. He's got Mark Stewart tucked in just behind him and Patrick Mortimer, as well as down the Bentley straight. And Issat already defending here from Lawrence Davey as the field swooped through. Brundler Nelson. Mark Stewart has got Mortimer behind him, and so Kevin O'Connor losing more positions in car with Ricky Page, who has got himself right onto terms with Shane Stoney over the course of this first lap. Shows the slipstream potential of the cars in the Cooper class through the bomb hole. Any corner here at Snetterton substantively unchanged in the 2011 circuit redesign, as on his way in 3rd place Chris Knox trying to use the toe to get up with the leading duo of Keith Issat and Lawrence Davey. It's a leading quartet breaking clear, completed by Luke Caudle. Then a little bit of daylight back to Henry Dupree in 5th as Knox looks to the outside of Lawrence Davey into Riches. Still trying to find that outside traction, then jinks to the inside line of Davey. And Knox very keen to go through. The gap though somewhat disappears. It's Gideon Cresswell. Josh Gollin looking to switch places through Riches. A little bit of a lean there possibly from Josh Gollin on Gideon Cresswell. The effect is that they're all through and on their way as Luke Caudle now looks to challenge Chris Knox, who's boxed in here behind Keith Issat as they hurtle on towards the braking zone for Agostini. Caudle switching every which way, so Davey takes the lead, knocks up into 2nd. Keith Issat maintains at least momentarily 3rd place. Neil Newstead runs wide en route to Hamilton as he attempts to drop Henry Dupree. Leading quartet en route to Oggies, and Caudle's drawn alongside Keith Issat and should go through here. Makes the move stick, gets a little bit of assistance from Issat on the exit of Oggies as they propel on towards Williams, and Chris Knox looking to line up for a move here on Lawrence Davey as they accelerate down the Bentley Straight. Knox to the outside of Davey, on the brakes into Brundle. Knox looking to swoop through here as he tries to dart through. There's contact and around goes Chris Knox, who spins onto the grass. Fortunately doesn't make contact with the Armco. In car with Knox, it was just a tiny hint of contact, but given the high-speed change of direction, it was enough to unsettle the car. There caused Knox all sorts of problems. So that then releases Luke Cordell to challenge Lawrence Davey. It releases Neil Newstead to try and chase down Luke Cordell. Keith Issap slipping to fourth. He has got Henry Dupree and Hamish Brandon lining up behind him to take their turn to look to challenge. Across the line, Cordell already in the slipstream behind leader Davey. Lawrence Davey, though, looking to do much as Luke Cordell in race one, which is stick to the racing line. The fact that the cars in the mini challenge are to all intents and purposes absolutely identical. Therefore, it comes down to drivers' racecraft about whether or not they can find a way through. What that means, though, is that as Cordell's charge is slowed, Neil Newstead can get onto terms with him immediately. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney leads from Ricky Page and William Phillips. Then Josh Gollin heads the next group with Gideon Cresswell, Chris Stoney and Matt Hammond, all part of that group. There's the white and green car of Hammond. The gap back to Simon Walton as well. Cresswell looking to really apply the pressure to Gollin, who's not having the weekend unfolding as he would have liked. Leading quartet arrive into Hamilton. And Luke Cordell again trying to challenge the inside Lawrence Davey. Davey, though, needs to get the perfect exit here out of Oggies, and the same for Williams to ensure that Cordell can't power past along the Bentley Straight. Just a single turn of the wheel then from Cordell through Williams. He carries the momentum, he's in the slipstream. It's Lawrence Davey who punches the hole through the air as Martin Poole drops out of the race. The leading trio have no change in the order, but are arguably as close as they've ever been. They have now got Henry Dupree and Hamish Brandon looking to join into that queue as the recovering Chris Knox is up behind Patrick Mortimer. Through Quorum, the cars absolutely on the limit of adhesion before they jump on the brakes, snick down through the gears and around Murray's. Luke Cordell really beginning to apply the pressure here to Lawrence Davey, and Davey's got to be mindful as well of sticking to the track limits. That's always a challenge for these drivers, particularly given the new regulations for this year, and when you're defending you sometimes don't think about that, as Davey has got Cordell looking to the outside at Richards, and Cordell may well carry the momentum here on towards Montreal. Cordell gets his nose in front and just darts across to cover the line in time. Neil Newstead looks to the outside of Davey as they're three wide midway through Montreal, and Davey somehow would appear to have reclaimed the lead, but he may not hold on because it's Cordell who has the inside advantage into Palmer, and they're helped there by the waves yellow flag for Martin Poole. So that gives Cordell momentary respite before Lawrence Davey can take his turn to challenging him once more. They all concertina up on the brakes through Agostini. Cordell then picks up the throttle on the exit, accelerates on towards the left-hander at Hamilton. It's Gideon Cresswell and Josh Gollin continue their battle in the Cooper class. Appears to have possibly got a little bit robust, given that some of those cars are sporting some damage. Nonetheless, they're still all running. It's still as close as it ever was. Matt Hammond decides that maybe now is his opportunity to begin to pick himself up through the order, so he darts to the inside of Chris Stoney at Montreal. A pair of them still working the slipstream to try and get back onto terms with Gideon Cresswell. Cresswell doesn't really make friends with the apex at Palmer. On past the back of the Tyrrell's restaurant towards Agostini. Very slight downhill braking zone for Agostini. No opportunity to move through, but you can see Cresswell's car squirming on the brakes as he runs out a little bit wide, and that potentially gives Gollin the opportunity to start through. Indeed it does, so Josh Gollin moves back into fourth in the Cooper class, because the three cars battling for the podium positions, Shane Stoney, William Phillips and Ricky Page, are long gone as Cresswell bumps and bores across the grass on the exit of Hamilton, hoping it will give him any sort of advantage. Oh, and he then makes contact with Matt Hammond. Hammond just a little bit late on the brakes into Oggies, and suddenly Chris Stoney comes back into the mix There is Mini Cooper trim all over the place. They're built with strong stuff, these Cooper class cars. Therefore, everybody continuing without too much diminishing of pace. Here is the class leader, Shane Stoney, and like Luke Caudle, looking to do the double at Snetterton. As in the background, Simon Walton has a little bit of a moment. He appears to have a gear and goes back on his way. It's Cresswell chasing Golin through Coram Curve. The pair of them would appear to have dropped a little bit. Chris Stoney and Matt Hammond, both of them making sure that they get around Murray's nice and smoothly. More importantly, carry the exit along the centre straight. Race lead though, Luke Caudle has broken a long way clear of Lawrence Davey, but Davey's been given a 5-second penalty for track limits infringements. That's going to push him down the order as Grace Williams recovers from a spin right into the path of race leader Luke Caudle, who comes up now towards the checkered flag, and Caudle takes the flag and does the double at Snetterton in front of the F3 GT crowd. Oh, and more problems on the very last lap of the race, and it's Adrian Norman and Simon Walton who have a spin. As across the line for second place is Henry Dupree, third goes to Neil Newstead after that penalty for Lawrence Davey, which sees him dropping down into fifth. The Cooper class, Shane Stoney once more dominant and victorious. He takes both victories at Snetterton. Gideon and Cresswell heads the queue across the line. Let's have a look then at the results, with Luke Caudle victorious from Henry Dupree and Neil Newstead. Hamish Brandon a good fourth, Lawrence Davey demoted to fifth, ahead of the recovering Chris Knox, who made it home in sixth. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney winning it from William Phillips and Ricky Page. Unfortunately, Gideon Cresswell disqualified for dangerous driving, so he drops out the results, promoting Chris Stoney and Josh Golin. So large round of applause for 6 happy drivers on top of the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge podium at Snetterton.
What a fantastic weekend, 2 wins in the bag, great points for the championship, another great car from Peak Performance. Team put a great effort in and we've smashed it this weekend.
You had to work hard though, working your way up through the order. Just took a few laps for you to get into the groove and take that lead.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my stronger points, getting through the traffic. We love the reverse grid, getting through the traffic makes it more enjoyable. So we got to the front and yeah, a great weekend.
I know the guy was on pole, so we had a bit of a plan together, and that went off perfectly. So managed to get a good start and just managed to get away. The car wasn't quite as quick first couple of laps, but then just kept getting quicker and quicker. So yeah, thanks to Coastal, we've been having some ABS issues all weekend, and we finally got sorted out for the races. So we're really pleased, doing a fantastic job, and the car's been fantastic.
So leaving Snetterton, let's have a look at the standings. In the JCW class, it's Luke Caudle who's 10 points clear of Chris Knox, with Lawrence Davey and Neil Newstead still very much in the mix. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney putting a little bit of daylight between himself and the opposition, which is 2 points between Josh Golin and Ricky Page.
That's it from Snetterton, and another fantastic weekend of racing in the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge. Join us again for the next round, where we'll be at the Mini Festival in Alton Park. But until then, don't forget you can check out everything that's going on the website, on Facebook, and of course on Twitter. For now though, it's goodbye.